Hello everyone, I'm Shomu Ghosh and once again welcome here to my video, and I hope you are studying very well and you are fine also. So today I'm sharing some knowledge about English grammar also. So welcome to my video, and my topic is modal auxiliaries. Although it's a continuation video of the modal auxiliaries, we have talked about may, might, can, could, must, and today I'm introducing some other parts, that is should, ought to, would, used to. So let's fly to the next slide. First, uses of should and ought to. Ought to, basically it is used like should, means if you think that you have some important work to do, means you think that the work is very important, then you can use ought to. And ought to is the unique modal verb, because every modal verb doesn't take the infinite verb after it. It doesn't take to after it, but ought to every time takes to after it and then the infinite. Like we should go. So we are not using any to here. But if I call or if I say that we ought to go, then to is here before the verb. So here are some sentences. Then read and analyze it. I ought to call my teacher. That I feel I ought to call my teacher. I should call my teacher. Or it is necessary. Then, or we can say it's the obligation that I oblige to call. But these are the soft obligation, not that you are pressurized. The obligation comes only from you. Shushmita ought to be our home soon. So this thing we are wishing, or we are very concerned about the time that we know about when Shushmita took off for his journey and when she should reach here. So we can say Shushmita ought to be our home soon. We hope so. Next, how to use the interrogative with ought to. Ought we to start now? We can also use like do you think we ought to start now? But this is the informal use. Most formal use that I have written, ought we to start now? Next, I ought to have called your friend but stopped. Here you can see the past participle format after ought to have. So when we are writing this type of sentence, we actually have to think about that the work we assigned, but somehow it is not happened. It did not happen. Maybe you have forgotten it. Maybe you could not do. You are not present. So in this criteria, you can say I ought to have called your friend but stopped. So that was your problem. You stopped. That's why you couldn't have called your friend. You always ought to keep some money with you, or you ought always to keep some money with you. Then you are seeing the same uses of ought to, but here always, that is the use sometimes before ought to or at the middle of ought and to. The former one means the you always ought to keep. It's the informal way of using. Most formal way of using of it is you ought always to keep some money with you. It's looking some awkward, but this is the most formal way of using. The second one. Let's look at the uses of the should. the important thing to do. So many things are there. Should also can be used as obligation, also can be used as prediction, but as we have already discussed about that may and might, this is for probability or prediction. So we'll talk about the most important part of this, why we use should. When we think it is our duty, or we think it's the important thing to do, or it's the correct thing, right thing to do, then we use should basically. Everybody should wear helmet while driving a bike. So here in this sentence you can see very well that it's our duty to wear a helmet while we are driving a bike, we are riding a bike. Here should be driving a car or riding a bike. Okay. We should respect the soldiers. That's also that we should, and we think that it's the important thing to do. You shouldn't tell a lie. See the contracted negative form of shouldn't. It is urgent that anybody should call an ambulance. Also here you can see I should have completed it earlier, but I couldn't. I should have completed it earlier. That I planned, but I couldn't. So here also should have completed. So as I have already said about it, in the uses of ought to, I ought to have called your friend. Means it was totally planned, but somehow it is missed. Here also, I should have completed it earlier, but I couldn't. So when you are using should have completed, that means you have planned it, but it did not happen. Here are some common uses of it. As from the starting I am telling you should and ought to has they have the same thing to same way to use, and the purpose is very same. You oughtn't to or shouldn't call him a mad person. So if you are thinking that why we are using should or shouldn't alone and oughtn't to, if you are thinking that, you are thinking in a right way. That oughtn't to cannot be separated, while shouldn't can be used as alone. I have already said about ought to is a very unique modal auxiliary, where ought every time takes to. It cannot be separated. You ought to or should have remembered his face. Should we leave the place, or ought we to leave the place? Okay, look at the use of the interrogative part of that ought to. Should we leave the place? Yes, this is the modal auxiliary. So to do the interrogative, you know that you have to put the auxiliary at the first. So as we are calling it modal auxiliary, so we can take that auxiliary at the first, as I have done. But at the use of the ought to, we only have to take ought at the first, then the subject, then to, then the verb. So ought we to leave this place? Okay, as we have already discussed about it, I think you have understood. So next, go to the next slide. Here we will see the uses of would and used to. These are also same. That's why I have taken only one slide to discuss it. Would. It is used as past form of will, future in the past, as a past habit, conditions, and so many. So look at the sentence. Would you call me later? So it's a past form of will, I want to say something. If you are listening, if you are pointing out these things in your copy, that would be better. That if I say, will you call me later? It is more obvious or it has the more power. Where we are saying, would you call me later? It's not too obvious or it's not too strong as will. And would is more formal than the will. I thought we would have a great time. So here we planned here. I thought we would have a great time. Planned in the past time. Planned in the past time, and when we are in the past, we thought it about the in the future. But total things, when we have come at the present time, the total things were in the past. So we can say it is the future in the past. If I give you the example, you can figure it out better. Like today, at that moment, it's 11 a.m. and you are thinking about yesterday, the same time, 11 a.m. But think it, yesterday at 11 a.m., you will be thinking about the afternoon session, like 4 p.m. So, yesterday 11 a.m., when you were thinking about 4 p.m., so 4 p.m. was your future. But now, today, the both the time, 11 a.m. or 4 p.m. of yesterday, has become the past. So 4 p.m. was the future in the past of 11 a.m. Okay, so think it carefully and you can make it in your copy and you can try it what I actually mean. Then I would tell you a story if you are interested in it. So here we have used the conditionals. So would is also used in the conditionals. Already I have written there. I would tell you a story if you are interested in it. Conditionals means to deal something. Like if you are interested, then I would tell you a story. Otherwise not. Next, when my grandmother or grandfather was old, he would sit at the lawn. Here's the past habit. And when we have to talk about the past days, we can use would. Next, the contracted form of would. I would like to order a soup. It's in the future form. As I have also not ordered now, I will order. So I can say I'd like to order a soup. It's a formal way of telling. I wish my mother wouldn't scold me for this mistake. So here also in the future form, I don't know what my mother will do. But I can say, I wish my mother wouldn't scold me. I'm wishing here for this mistake. Next, used to only be used in the past form. But one thing, also we use would and used to for the past form or for the past habit. But what the past habit are regular or it was the regular basic habit, means every day it happened. Then we use the used to very much, not would. I used to run every day. In the past habit. So in the past, I used to run every day. I used to watch a movie every week. So it's a regular habit. That's why used to is it's more used in the sentence, or it's preferable to use rather than would. So common uses here. My parents used to or would consult our family doctor. Here also used to cannot be separated, where would can be used alone. And would doesn't take two after it for the infinite, but used take two for the infinite. Okay, students, I think you have understood. Read it carefully and see the video again and again. I think you will understand. You'll understand better. So, all about today. Thanks for watching my video. I think you have enjoyed my video very well, and I will cover some more things in my video. Till then, bye bye.